We'll have that discussion in a minute, my friend. We'll have an executive managerial discussion in just a second. I play them a lot on the Rock and Roll Show. They're from Daventry. They play all over the UK. They record for the mighty rock and roll label Western Star that gets their product out across the country. And they've even made me a jingle. America awaits in October. This is exciting. The Retrobaits are Stuart Bates on bass, Darren Webb on drums, and on vocals and guitar, David Yates. So nice to see you, David.
How you doing, Ben? You all right?
I'm well, thank you. You have been all over this month, haven't you?
Been very busy, mate, yeah.
Stafford, Harrow, Stockton and Sywell. How was the Atomic Festival?
Atomic Festival was really cool. Yeah, that's a great gig. That's a really cool place to be.
I'm sorry I missed it this year, because last year I loved it. And the fact it's in Northamptonshire is so interesting. Do you know why it's always been rock and roll in Northamptonshire? It's rock and roll and soul, isn't it? Northern soul.
Yeah, Northamptonshire, when we were growing up, when we were young and influenced late 70s, early 80s, rock and roll has always been a big thing around this area. Lots and lots of rock and roll clubs. Thunderbird Club used to be a real popular place at Wellingborough.
Yeah, and the Railway, wasn't it?
Yeah, Railway. Yeah, the Railway in Wellingborough as well, wasn't it? So there's always lots and lots of rock and roll, lots of bands. You know, we all know each other. There's lots of people around here that are all musicians that have been in rock and roll bands.
Yeah, and you do this yourself. First time I heard you, I could tell that you'd done it before because you've got a kind of swagger, you've got confidence in the way you play. This isn't your first band, you've been in others.
Oh no, lots of bands, yeah.
Always rock and roll?
Always rock and roll, yeah. Well, no. I was in a ska band for years, but please don't shoot me down for that. But I think the ska influenced the rockabilly and the rock and roll along the way. So, I like lots of different kinds of music, but it's always been predominantly rockabilly and rock and roll and doo-wop. I really got a passion for doo-wop music. I love it. So.
And the music that you do, they call it now, I can never work out what they all mean. To me, it's just music. But you have rock and roll, you've got rockabilly, you've got neo-rockabilly.
Yes.
You're neo, that just means kind of you weren't there at the start. Is that what it means?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like the sort of the revival of it, really. Bands such as Restless and people like that, and maybe even Alan's band The Sharks and things like that fell into the neo-rockabilly bracket. We got labelled in a magazine a few weeks ago. We got labelled neo rock and roll, which we quite like.
I read that.
That's I've not heard that one, so
yeah,
that was nice. It was nice to fit into a new category, really.
And most of it is that was a cover of the old Ponytail song. That most of it you write, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of it's penned by myself, and obviously we work out the arrangements, and it's all good fun. It's always good to get originals out, especially when we're down at Western Star. Alan loves the originals. We're trying to be as creative as possible. So,
how did you hook up with Western Star? Because that's where you record. It's a great label. They do psychobilly and rock and roll and rockabilly, and it's one of the few in the country, isn't it, that does this stuff?
It is. I think it's probably the only one now, apart from Nervous. Maybe still be going. I know Alan had links with Nervous years ago. Nervous Records, but it's just great. I love it. I really enjoy being at Western Star. Alan does a great job. You always get the best that you can possibly be.
It's very clever.
Yeah, he's a good man. He knows his onions inside out.
But how do you propel all this forward? How do you drive it on? Because it is yourselves, isn't it, the three of you?
Yes.
No managers?
No managers. Not at this point. No. It's just ourselves. Stuart works really hard, pushing us on Facebook and social media. Pushing all the events and all the gigs and things like that, and trying to find angles and links. But yourself, you've pushed us a lot on the radio as well, so we're grateful for that.
But it's because you're good. That's why it makes it
very kind of you to say.
It makes it easy. If you're rubbish, imagine what a downer that would be. That would be awful, wouldn't it? Every Saturday night playing rubbish.
Yeah,
it would be shocking. I don't understand why. We're going to talk to Susie Quattro later on this month, and she's got a new best of, and she does rock and roll broadcasting. And I know it sticks in her throat that a lot of people think that music started in 1962, 1963. But you're missing out all this great stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, all that stuff, late 40s and the swing and jazz and how it influenced the rock and roll, and all the jazz players became rock and roll players to go commercial and try and make lots more money through the 50s, and especially for the songwriters, it was a boom through the 50s for all the songwriters, which is why we're trying to write as much stuff of our own as we possibly can. And
you write it with a kind of 21st century viewpoint, don't you? It's stuff that's happened. It's real life, isn't it?
A lot of it is real life, yeah. Some of it is, Squeezes Don't Leave Me, which is a title track from the album. I probably shouldn't say this, but it took me about 3 minutes whilst I was eating my cornflakes.
Is that right?
It just came about, and Stuart Bates gave me a title. He said, try and write a song that uses this as a title. So I got it one morning, pad and pen, cornflakes, it was written. And we all said, that's a cool song. But lots of the other ones are, real life experiences and modern day approach to an old sort of tune, really.
But that's scrambled eggs, isn't it? That's how Paul McCartney woke up with scrambled eggs.
Absolutely.
And then that became Yesterday.
Exactly, yeah.
And he always says that he doesn't know how they come, where they come from. But
you can't force it. They just seem to pop into your head in that moment of inspiration. I don't think you can sit down and say, right, today I'm writing a song. I think it just comes out. But
And how do they go down with the rock and roll crowd? Because you do covers, but when you do your own songs, unless they have the album, unless they have Squeeze's, this one here on Western Star, your Squeezes Don't Leave Me, and then the EP that we'll play a track from in a moment, unless they have those, they're not going to know them, are they? So how do they go down?
We try and be clever. When we work out the set list for the gig, we'll try and work out some covers that they're going to know and the tempos, because most clubs are sort of dance orientated, so they need to be able to jive, bop, stroll, whatever they're feeling they want to do. So we try and sneak the relevant sort of tempo in with a well-known one, so that hopefully they don't notice too much the difference.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it'll grow on them. But we're lucky now. We've done lots of gigs all round the coast, all over the place, and we've, especially down in Devon, we seem to be made a lot of friends down in Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah.
They love us, and they're singing the words to our songs, which is really, really nice.
They like you by the seaside?
We're all around the seaside. We're every seaside. We have Weston-super-Mare. We've got stuff coming up down there again, and all the seasides. And we always end it with Savoy and chips at the end of the gig. That's one of our favourite meals.
Nothing wrong with that. Harry Hurley says, can you ask the Retrobaits to record a version of Don't Knock Upon My Door by Billy Fury? Can you record a version of Don't Knock Upon My Door?
Right.
There you go, my friend. Billy Fury's song. Do you know Harry?
I know Harry very well. Okay. Yeah.
Has he been pestering you for a long time to record that?
Harry's a proper character, I assure you. Yeah, he's an old friend. Harry is. Yeah, okay. He's always trying to wind us up along the way.
Well, you have to do that for him now, don't you?
Well, we'll have to, yeah.
Is it a network? Do you feel that you're part of some kind of community, this kind of functional family in rock and roll? Because you know these guys, you were in the Jets, weren't you?
I did a couple of gigs for the Jets, yeah. Ray was ill once upon a time, unfortunately. They've all been quite ill in the past, but I was luckily enough, we did a support gig for him. And I got asked if I could cover a couple of gigs while Ray wasn't very well. So for me, that was fantastic. Yeah. The Jets were a fantastic band. They was at Atomic. We saw them Saturday afternoon, and for me, they just get better.
They're amazing. And they did a thing with Daryl, didn't they, for Eddie Cochran?
Yes, yeah, that was good. That was really good as well. Yeah, that was got the best of everything there on that stage that night.
So now America.
Yeah, Kansas is looming. We're off.
Have you been before to play?
Not been to play, but so yeah, we're really looking forward to this one.
That's a strange thing, isn't it? You're taking your coals to Newcastle because it's an American art form, isn't it, rock and roll?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm sort of wondering what they'll make of neo rock and roll, with them being the purists and us being the UK sort of, people that are jumping on the bandwagon with UK vocals instead of hiccuping American vocals and things like that, and the modern words and things. We'll see how that goes down. But I'm sure hopefully it's about the tempos and the music and, how we put it across to them, and also having a laugh and some fun, because that's a big experience and a good laugh, and we've got to embrace that. We're all getting older now. We're not 20 anymore, so we've got to embrace this and have a laugh.
What are you, 32, 33? Not much more than that, my friend.
Stop flattering me.
Not much more than that. So when are your next local gigs?
We are playing, I'm not sure of the date, but I think we've got a one-off gig at the old Five Bells in Kisingbury.
Okay.
In Northampton, I think. In Kingsthorpe, sorry, not Kisingbury, Kingsthorpe, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is only down the road, isn't it?
Brilliant.
So if anybody local wants to come and watch us, that'd be fantastic.
Because you played Watford, haven't you? You played the Village Hall in Watford.
Yes, we did the Fate there. Yeah, we did the Fate there. So we do some local stuff, but I think we've got Rockabilly Rebellion coming up in Weston-super-Mare. I think Alan's involved in that one. We're at the Welsh Rockabilly Fair coming up a couple of weeks' time. Obviously we've got Kansas, we've got all sorts of rock and roll clubs all over the place.
Good for you. It's fantastic, my friend. As soon as I heard you, I thought that you're something special.
Thank you.
You are something special.
Very kind of you to say so.
And this album, is there another one coming? You're going to do another album?
We're going to do something next year.
Yep.
We've already got some other songs that we've got some songs that are sort of scratched out ready, so to speak. We're going to record some more next year. That's the plan. Is to see where Mr. Bottlecut, where that gets to with it, because that's obviously vinyl. So we thought we'd do a vinyl EP as well to see if we could hit the market with a bit of vinyl, old-fashioned stuff. CD's gone really well. I think we're nearly sold out now. We've got to go and get some more. So that's really good. Very
good. The album is Your Squeezes Don't Leave Me by the Retrobaits. You can get it from the website, which is western-star.co.uk, or any gig that the boys play, they'll sell it as well. And then this EP. What am I doing with this EP, my friend? What track do you want me to play from Hey Mr. Bottle?
Oh, Hey Mr. Bottle. Could you play That's Nice?
That's nice. Okay, I can do that. Of course I can do that. And that, again, is available from western-star.co.uk. I hope Kansas is fantastic.
Thank
That's
you.
the best thing. Why Kansas?
We befriended a band in Kansas, a chap called Jason Barkley, who's been really, really helpful, and he said he really liked the band and he'd love to get us over there. So we just literally said, okay, we'll get some flights and we'll come over. So he booked a load of gigs all round Kansas City and where was it? I think it was St. Louis was mentioned, but I'm not sure without looking in the diary. But certainly he's booked us some nice venues over there, and there's 2 or 3 bands on, and so we're sort of amongst good people and good company and good bands by the looks of it.
A great thing.
It's a great thing, yeah. I think you've got to put yourself out to actually get out there and do things. We are actually booked to for the Boston Viva East Festival next summer. So we shall be going back to America next year.
Lovely. Can you bring our tea back with you when you go from there?
We can do that, yeah.
If you could, that would be great.
We can do that, mate. Yeah,
they don't appreciate it. The Retrobaits Hey Mr. Bottle is the new 4-track EP that we play on the Saturday programme. western-style.co.uk.